It's ready.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is David Nab, and I'm here today and happy to introduce you to a very good friend of mine, Mr. Puzhi, who is a fine saxophonist, and I know you're going to enjoy meeting him and hearing him play the saxophone and talk about his musical life. Good to see you, Pooh.
Thank you, David. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Would you like to play something on your saxophone for us?
Yes, I'd be happy to. I'm going to play a little bit about of the London area for alto saxophone.
What a beautiful melody, and so well played. Thank you, Mr. Pooh. I think people would be interested to know about where you're from. Where were you born, and where did you grow up?
Well, okay, so um, I'm from the south southwest of China, the city called Chengdu, and it is in Sichuan province, and it's made up of 1.5 billion people. It's a huge city, a lot of traffic, a lot of food, good food, of course, and yeah. So I started my elementary school when I was 7, and I did um, all those usual things, go to school, and graduated in the age of 12, and went to one of the best middle school in the city. Is called Chengdu Number 7 High School. It's one of the most prestigious schools. And then later, 3 years later, I went to the same school, but it's high school grade. Um, we 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 are 3 years of high school instead of 4, not like the United States. I graduated in summer of 2012, and you'll be interested to know when did I play saxophone? When did I start? So actually, I my first instrument was piano. I started when I was like 4 years old. Um, and then, to be honest with you, I had a rough time. I can tell you, I didn't like that much at all. Every time when I practiced piano, my mom always gave me a really restrict schedule, and she always have a goal for me, and she always say, "Okay, you need to play this at this certain tempo, otherwise you don't get to eat, or you don't to get to do other things." And and my teacher at that time was really terrible, and he will hitting my hand use rulers with, you know if I don't play with right hand position, and my parents will do the same thing. And after like 3 or 4 months or so, I thought, what the heck? I don't want to play the piano. I quit. And every time I see the piano, I cry every single time. And then, um, um, so of course, after 3 months, I quit. And then I did some other things. I was in and in and out hospital a lot to do some physical therapy and to do trainings. And anyway, it was a pretty painful experience. Luckily enough that I have friends alongside, and I have my family. So I did not start saxophone playing until I went to middle school. The first year of middle school, a friend of mine played a saxophone, and I became very interested right away once I saw his saxophone in his hand um, one day, and I said, uh, "Could you play? Could you play a little bit for me?" And he's kind enough, and he said, "Well, I'd be happy to play for you." Of course, I didn't know much about saxophone at all, or I didn't know anything at all. And he played, I think he played G major scale, if I remember correctly. Um, so, and then after that day, I told my parents, I said, "Mom and Dad, I want to play saxophone." And my father, who said that, uh, oh, by the way, so that day we had a we had a meeting about it. Um, my father is very supportive, so was my mom, and so my father says, "Okay, we're gonna find you a good teacher. Um, we're gonna find you a teacher." Um, and then he went and found me teacher in within a couple months later. That's how I started saxophone. And my first teacher was a oboist, uh, as well as a saxophonist. Even though he was not a quite advanced saxophonist, but he can play saxophone. Yeah. So I did not start advanced classical saxophone studies until I really getting involved with the Sichuan Conservatory in 2008. He's a really good teacher, and he happens to be the first full-time saxophone professor in China, Sichuan Conservatory. His name is Professor Yusheng Li. Some of you may know, and he at that time I cannot get into any conservatory level or university level to study saxophone or any other music project because of my physical condition. They don't accepting any student with underlying health condition with disabilities. Doesn't
Can you
matter
talk?
how good you are.
Can you talk a little bit about that? You mentioned some some therapy and some other treatments you had. Um, can you talk a little bit about your health situation?
Well, yes, I was born with cerebral palsy, and for some of you may familiar, which means that infected my part of my body, and for me it was lower part, the lower part, it's really affected. I cannot walk independently, uh, and so I had to use walker. I had to use crutches at home or wherever I walk. If I go out, I normally use wheelchair. I have two wheelchairs. One in manual, and one is electric. And I did swimming team. I did join the swimming team, and in fact, I did join the disabled ping pong team, which for some of you sort of this may be impossible, right? So I played ping pong with sitting position. I played in the wheelchair, but that didn't last very long. That all before I started saxophone training. So not not long after I thought, you know, I I don't want to make this as a profession, or I don't want to do this for my life for the rest of my life. So I quit after a while. But I was in the national swimming team and for a year, and then I won the third prize uh, in the national championship for disabled swimmer. It was 50-meter backstroke. So
What year was that?
it was in 2005, and then in 2006, I won the gold medal in the national champion for the same 50-meter backstroke. So I guess my story is kind of probably different than any other people, right? But I hope that this is interesting enough.
Oh, I think it's very interesting.
Oh,
It's very inspiring to know
thank you.
the struggles you have overcome and
Yeah,
have dealt with
and,
successfully. And,
and oh gosh, I had a lot of struggles in school because I was the only person that disabled in the class, either when I was in elementary school or middle school or high school. And the people just do not treat me as a normal person. They in general they saw that disabled students are funny, and they saw the way I walk, they saw the way I do things. They think that I'm the funniest student. I'm the weirdest student in the whole class. I anyway, I had a really really difficult time, and I did not enjoy it. And but I said, well, I just have to move forward. I don't want to look back and struggle with them. So I don't care. Um, so a lot of people come in front of my face saying, at that time saying, "Oh, because of your disability, you cannot do that. Come on, you should live with a person who is with disability and take social benefits. You shouldn't do something. You should do anything else rather just take care by your mom all the time and feed you all the time. And, you shouldn't do music. You shouldn't do other things. You should just stay home, do whatever." So they saw me like that. That was really hard. But I did not listen to any of those. I just moved forward with my own path.
and your parents were encouraging you to move forward with the challenges,
Well,
right?
well, at that time, I must say that they are, especially my mom, really discouraged. But my father and I my father was really angry and really mad when he heard those things. For me, I didn't really care. Of course, it's sad, but I didn't care. So I just moved forward to whatever I love. And so I I make sure that I'm really kind to people and try to be helpful to the society. Try to be helpful with whoever I could, and, and end up that um, I made quite a bit friends, um, not in the school but outside of school. So
So, do you have any words of advice for other young people who are struggling with a similar situation to yours? What would you what
well,
would you tell them to do?
you know, the one most important thing is that I will tell them just go whatever you believe, and if you have the energy to do anything, you know, you don't have to do things people suggest. You just have to do things that what you think is right for you for your life. And one things that I learned that you know nobody can ever tell you what you should do for your life. You just have to find your own passion, what you love, and go for it. And so you might in the progress you might struggle a little bit, and that's okay. You can just look forward. Of course, we all gonna have struggles on the way, but if you kept going, if you don't give up, um, you're gonna achieve great things. Doesn't matter um, what you're doing. The most important thing also is to understand who you are from the bottom of your hearts. So don't listen to other people. Well, you can listen to other people, but don't listen to other people saying, if they say, oh, you should do this, you should do that, you should do that. Don't don't take any of those advice unless you feel that fit for you personally. So I guess that's the most important piece of advice I would give to anybody with disability or even without. Because for me, I've overcome with a lot of life challenges, either physically or emotionally. But you know, I overcome. That's where I am right now. I wouldn't sitting here today if I do not um, overcome those challenges. Yes.
Now, can you talk about the saxophone and what what about the saxophone you love so much? What is it about playing the saxophone that is so appealing to you?
Well, so I started listening to music when I was just 4 years old, 4 or 5. I don't remember exactly, but when I was very little. And you might think this is funny. The first record ever I hear is Kenny G. Kenny G's record. His music has like huge popularity in China. So if you go to school, if you go to restaurants, shopping mall, his music is everywhere. But at that time I was little and I did not, um, I guess, pay much attention rather than just, you know, think that this is a good melody. And but I did not getting into the saxophone until later in my life. And as I mentioned before, the friend of mine who has really brought my interests, and then along the way, I think I believe that I had the best teacher that I can find. So I guess I love the sound and the look of the saxophone. That's the two things I always get back to.
What kind of saxophone do you play?
Well, you mean what brand or?
Sure. What brand and what sizes? Do you also play soprano like Kenny
So
G?
I play soprano. I play Yamaha saxophone like you do, Dr. Neb. Um, my saxophone is Yamaha 875EX gold plated alto, and I have a gold plated soprano, um, and I also have a tenor 875EX, and I have a P. Murray's sopranino saxophone. So I have four total, but my main focus is alto and soprano, which my favorite instruments to play.
And what about your mouthpiece selection?
So I play. I've tried a lot of different mouthpieces. I tried Rousseau mouthpiece. I tried Surmer S90, S90, S80 mouthpieces, and then I tried AL3 mouthpiece, most popular by Van Doren. Um, I I finally settled on this one. It's just I like the sound. It's very focused. It's very easy to play in tune, and the sound is round. Um, it's very easy to to uh, to play in the all the range. So and it's very easy to change colors. And the reed I play strings number 3, V12, V21, and traditional blue box Van Doren. I play 3, sometimes 3.5. And lately I found some interested in the Legier signature reed, and even though I still trying, but I think that yeah. So Van Doren is still my favorite, and the ligature I play the MO gold plated by Van Doren. This probably is my favorite ligature because this ligature is very free blowing. It's very light. So some ligatures if you put it onto your mouthpiece, it's gonna control your reed like make your reed not right vibrating well. But this ligature, because it's lightweight, it's really easy to make to switch sound colors. So yeah.
Can you say a little bit about what music does for your life? What role does music play in your life, do you think?
What I'm sorry. What was your question?
Um, music in general, how
Like
important how important is it to you?
okay, so I guess everybody is different. For me, music is how I made my living. So I'm music will make my life much more joyful, enjoyable to live. and the music will bless my soul. And so, in general, the music is very, very important to me. And I cannot imagine one day without music. So, even though I do not play the saxophone every day, but I always listen to different kind of music because I feel it's very important to my soul. So music is what explain of me. I sometimes feel like as a musician can be one of the richest way to make a living because once you become a musician, it's not just career. It's not just you know saxophonist or pianist or bassoonist or whatever. It's every part of your life. I'm sure that Dr. Neb, you and I have the seminary experience, right? So,
I'm sure. Yeah, I would agree. Now, you were born in Sichuan,
yes.
but you're not in Sichuan today. Where are you today?
Well, okay. So I moved to the United States in 2012 to attend school at Southern Oregon University with a saxophonist, Dr. Red Bender, professor of music. His response in teaching saxophone, clarinet, um, history, theory, and I graduated with my bachelor's degree here hanging on my wall. I don't know if you can if you're able to see.
I can, if you go up just a little bit now. There it is.
Yeah, I graduated this year with a Bachelor of Arts um, in music and saxophone performance,
At what
and
at what
and
university?
Southern Oregon University.
Southern Oregon with Red Bender. Can
Yes,
you move the camera now so we see your face again?
sorry, and I graduated with award called Outstanding Music Achievement Award, and I yeah.
Now, you've won some other awards and recognition with your saxophone. Can you
Yes,
talk about those?
I'm the top winner with special mention in the China China national competition for special arts and music back in 2011, and fortunately I was the only I am so far the only saxophonist in China to have a university degree in any type of musical instrument or musical composition or whatever. I'm the only disabled musician to have a university degree in any kind of music.
That's that's wonderful. That's very impressive.
And by getting this degree, I get a lot of question like, how did you went through all those challenges? Like what makes you wanted to get a degree, and also what do you want to do with your degree? Like how can we get into the university? Because um, um, I'm the only disabled musician to have a university degree in music since 1949.
So, What is it? Why do why did you pursue a degree then? That's a good question.
Well, first of all, I really love the saxophone, as you know, and I really wanted to get better with it. And although I have a really good teacher in China, but I thought that's not enough. If you wanted to be a professional saxophonist in today's world, and fortunately, um, I'm no red bender since 2010, and I uh, participated a couple of his master classes. He liked my playing, and originally it was his idea. He asked me and my parents, would I be interested to study with him at Southern Oregon University? And at first, me and my parents, um, of course, we didn't know what the American educational system is like, and the thing that we concern the most is, am I able to get around? Am I able to finish in the degree? Um, so because of my disability, um, I I'm not only having physical disability, but also some visual disabilities. But over the years of working at the university, I think that I become more strong, and I, I get more rich, and I by having more knowledge. And anyway, so I'm really glad that I take this step to get this degree. Um, so um, I think that the degree academic is really important.
You're still a very young man, Mr. Pu. Uh, what are some of your professional goals at this point?
Well, I obviously we are going through this pandemic. Originally, my goal was to start my graduate degree at the University of North Carolina with at Greensboro with Dr. Steve Stilson. I'm sure Dr. Knapp, you're very familiar with him. And he is another inspiration of my saxophone. And I wanted to get graduate degree and eventually probably get a doctor, but that's not my uh, goal that any close. I'm still thinking, but I wanted to get um, my graduate degree. Part of the reason because I really like Dr. Stusyk's teaching, and another reason is that I wanted to learn more about the saxophone in the university level. In the graduate level, I wanted to learn the literature, the repertoire. That I just wanted to get better. I am the kind of person that I'm very eager, very energetic of learning, and and then I wanted to teach, uh, either to have a private studio or to teach at pre-college level or maybe undergrad college level, and in the future, that's my goal. And but main focus is I just want to get better. So uh,
Saxophonist.
I'm sorry.
Improve as a saxophonist, right?
Yes,
Get
yes,
better on the saxophone.
yeah. I guess that's really really important. and I wanted to spend my life to help people. That I wanted to encourage the people that take the path that I did.
It's not the easiest path
Right,
that you
right.
can follow.
It's really hard, um, but once you come through it, you're gonna become a totally different person. You will get stronger. I encourage everybody to do so. Um, doesn't matter what kind of whatever disability or whatever difficulties you have. Um, getting a university, although getting into a university, it's not easy. Getting a university degree is also a difficult thing. But once you can get in to a college, you won. So, and another thing is that once you can come out with a university degree, to me, you will become a hero. So, and I wanted to say that Dr. Nat, thank you for being a person who inspired me as a person living with disability and as a saxophonist. You're also one of the most important influential person in my life as a musician.
Likewise, um, that's kind of you to say. I appreciate that. Um, we have to stick together, right? I think there's a lot we can learn from each other
Yes.
in these difficult situations we end up in.
Yeah.
It life gets difficult sometimes.
Yeah. We got a lot of struggles, but um, we just have to live as who we are.
Yes. So has the saxophone played a role in you learning about yourself in some particular way?
Well, I think that by playing the saxophone, I learned that I understand myself better by playing music. I think by that meaning, I think um, my music focus is I am I have a strong foundation of playing lyrical stuff, and every time I play a line of lyrical of a beautiful line, I I think back of what I went through, and I I understand how I should move forward. So uh, that's why um, people think to me that my playing is very musical because every time I play music, there's always a story in my brain, whether my life story or somebody else's story, either happy or sad or whatever. Um, and so the saxophone also explained who I am. I am a person living with disability. I am a musician. I'm a saxophonist with a with a with a with a heart that I wanted to help people. I wanted to make friends. I wanted to people to come to me to speak deeply with me. I wanted to listen to people. I wanted to, not only help people physically, but I want to help people who have difficulties with their emotional.
So, do you think when you play music, do you think it changes how people view you or they think about you?
Well,
What?
I don't know. Well, I don't know about that. But one thing I can tell you that at least from my country, um, every time I play music for them, the first expression that I get it is the audience will come to me and say, "Oh, nice playing." Although I'm sure that a lot of people don't understand the saxophone or whatsoever, so they don't care about whatever music I play. They don't care, you know, um, whether if they like the music at first, but they will come to me to say, "Oh, nice playing. Oh, you're impressive." And I said, "Oh, thank you." And they will explain to me, "Oh, oh, wow, you're impressive. Look, you have a disability and you still can play saxophone. Oh, wow." That's the first response. I get it. So by all means, that people think that I play saxophone is not amazing them. The reason that amazed them because I'm the person with a disability, and they think that I still can play the saxophone even I was the disability. But I have to tell you that this response, as I get older, I do not take this as a compliment, and as as I think it back, hurting me a little bit. I wanted to I wanted people to see me as a saxophonist, as a normal human being, right? So I don't want people make any adjustment or a judgment on my disability. Oh, because you have disability, you can do this, you can do that. It's amazing. Of course, I can do that. I mean, right? Of course, I can do whatever I want because I have the passion to. Now, so we both of us, um, we might do one thing in a different way, but that's okay. If you take longer time, take a longer time. That's just how it is. Right. So,
We're all different people, and we all have different ways
right.
to
We all have to find a way to live
yes.
as a person. I'm not talking about saxophonists or musician. Just as a person who is with disability. I'm sure that you have the similar experience when you go out and play one-hand saxophone. You don't want to hear people saying, "Oh, you know, this person, having such a difficult time and he still can play saxophone. It's amazing." You don't want people to make adjustment on your disability. You just wanted to them to focus on your playing your music.
I'm just another musician.
Right.
That's what I want, and that's
Yes.
when I feel the best. That's when I'm just another guy in the band
Exactly.
happen to play the saxophone, and then from there it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. No.
That's who I am.
Yeah.
And that's who you are. Now you can drive a car. You have a car in Southern Oregon.
Um, I cannot drive because of my vision. So now we're working on a car that maybe in the future that I can drive by hand. or I can drive by talking to the system. Like there something has to be done to make the car specialized. But for now, I cannot drive because of my vision.
Because of your vision.
Yeah.
So, what about other traveling? You travel by plane with no problem?
No problem. I can fly.
How do you get to school? How do you get to the university every day?
I My house is about 5 minutes driving to the school, and mostly I took bus. I you know I I I I take bus to school and go home. And in the school, I use my wheelchair. And it's fortunate. This school is small and everything is pretty accessible.
Is there anything else you think we should talk about today that you'd like to tell us?
Well, I guess that's all I have. I mean, I would be happy to accept more questions, and I just love to chat. If
Can you
you
can
have
you
more questions for me, I'd be happy to answer.
how can people contact you if they wish to?
Uh, I will. I will. Here, I will put my website, and I will have my email and phone number on Facebook. And Dr. Knapp, you're gonna share this interview, right?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Um, I guess it's on Facebook, right?
Sure. Uh, if you share the video, then we can do it
Yeah,
anywhere we want.
well, I will send that. Yeah, so you can, for anybody who wants to get hold of me, the easiest way is by phone. I, so, Dr. Knapp, you have my phone, right? Um,
Yes, everything.
and
Maybe you'd like to share your email address in this video.
yes, my email address is puzhi.saxophone@gmail.com. So if anybody have any interesting project, any or anything you want to talk, you want to play saxophone, or you want to share music, you're welcome to email me anytime. And I wish everybody a healthy life, and just do whatever you enjoy.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Puzhi, and thank you for sharing so
And
much
and
with everyone.
Dr. Knapp, I just wanted to thank you sincerely for this wonderful interview that we can do together. And I hope and believe that we all are gonna have much more collaborations in the future. And I
Absolutely.
and I wish you and your family all the best.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Puzhi.
Okay, now so I'm gonna stop the recording. Anybody have any question, or you have any question?
No, I'm good.
I'm happy to talk, and now I'm gonna